Hey there, I'm Rob, and what you're looking at here is my magic cheese. You're probably wondering, what the heck is magic cheese? And how is it going to help me land my dream job in as little as 14 days? So stick with me and watch this short presentation, and I'll explain everything. First, I want you to imagine something. Imagine waking up one morning and walking over to your computer and opening your email and finding an inbox full of messages from company executives thanking you for contacting them, although curious as to how you got their contact information in the first place, and all requesting a job interview with you. And what if these emails represented a better than 50% response rate from the messages that you had sent out just a day or two earlier? Now, if you're anything like the 99.9% of job seekers out there diligently contacting employer after employer, you may be saying to yourself, impossible. And you'd be right, based on the type of messages that 99.9% of job seekers are sending to employers. As a matter of fact, you'd be lucky to get any response at all. You see, in order to stand out and get noticed and have employers falling all over themselves to speak with you about scheduling an interview, you have to use the right approach, directed at the right person. And your messages have to include one very important thing: your magic cheese. It's something I discovered back in the late 90s that I, and now countless others, have used to land a desirable job in an amazingly short amount of time, typically around 14 days. And it's the solution that you came here looking for today. It all came about as a result of a time when I suddenly found myself in a situation that may be very similar to the one you're in now, thanks to the myth I believed in called job security, along with the unemployment Armageddon that occurred back when the late 90s dot-com bubble burst. I found myself, along with thousands of others, in the ranks of the unemployed and in the midst of one of the toughest job markets in recent history, almost as bad as the brutal job market of today. Sadly for me at the time, I believed that my fancy resume and my impressive work experience would be all I needed to quickly land on my feet in an even better situation. Boy, was I wrong. I'd quickly become nothing more than a commodity, and for every position that I pursued, there were 100 others just like me, all competing for the same position. Maybe you've had a similar experience. To make a long, painful story short, I had to struggle and go without income for nearly a year and almost lose everything, including the roof over my head and my family, before the answer to my bleak situation finally appeared. I remember it like it was yesterday, walking into my dark, empty, and mortgage-to-the-hilt house and finding 2 pieces of paper laying on the kitchen table. I walked over to pick them up, and it was then, right there in that moment, that it happened. My worst fears had been realized. Rock bottom had just moved clearly into sight for me. The first piece of paper was a foreclosure notice from the bank. Well, that's just what I need, I thought to myself. Now I'm about to lose the roof over my head. But it was the second piece of paper that really got me. The second was a note from my wife. It simply said, "I can't do this anymore. We've gone to stay with my mother." My heart began to pound out of my chest, and my stomach felt like it was up in my throat to the point I couldn't even breathe. Now I was losing my family? I felt like I was completely underwater, drowning in a fear of loneliness, desperation, and complete and utter disappointment in myself. I was literally gasping for air. Finally, after a few minutes, I pulled myself together somewhat and tried to gather my thoughts, and it was right then and there that I made a vow. I made a promise to God, a declaration, that I would rectify that situation, and I would do it right then and there, for once and for all, and never ever let it happen again. I vowed to do whatever it took to right the ship, or I would die trying. I turned to walk into the living room and start brainstorming my plan, and it was like God himself had heard my vow and had placed the answer that I so desperately needed directly in front of me. And it came from the most unlikely of places and in the most unexpected form. Lying there on the floor beside the coffee table were several crudely stapled together pieces of construction paper. As I looked closer, I realized it was the art project my daughter had been working on the night before. She had told me all about it last night, but I was so preoccupied with my own problems that her words had just gone in one ear and out the other. You see, today was her first day of preschool, and she had decided that she wanted to make sure that her teacher paid special attention to her and that she stood out above all the other students. So she decided to create an art presentation about who she was, with all kinds of fun little details like her favorite color, her favorite food, the cartoon she watched, etc. She would stand up and show it off when she was called upon this morning to introduce herself to the class. She was insistent upon standing out from the crowd, something that I couldn't figure out how to do in nearly a year's time. And as I sat there thumbing through those pages, light bulbs were going off in my head like fireworks. And from those very pages came the inspiration that I needed to formulate a strategy. A strategy that would have me back in the saddle with an even bigger office and a bigger paycheck than before, only a few short weeks later. I got my bills caught up, I avoided foreclosure by the skin of my teeth, and I regained my self-confidence. Most importantly, I got my family back, along with my sanity. I had finally found the air that I needed to breathe again, all thanks to the inspiration from a little girl's artwork. It's funny how answers and solutions sometimes miraculously appear out of nowhere when things seem to look the darkest. That was certainly one of those times for me, and this is one of those times for you. Because today the same solution that I and now countless of others have used to land the opportunities of a lifetime in mere weeks, sometimes even days, will be your solution. Today I'm going to share with you what I discovered and save you the potential nightmare that I went through. Or if it's a nightmare that you're already in the middle of, and get you out of it fast. So keep watching. The solution I created is one for men and women who want to put themselves in a position of power, and have the ability to pick and choose the companies that they want to interview with and who they want to work for, regardless of whether or not those companies are even officially hiring or not. To be able to effortlessly book a seemingly endless number of interviews that result in multiple job offers, and accomplish it all in as little as 14 days. Now, this position of power is what you will be able to experience for yourself starting today. My name is Rob Berry, and over the past 2 decades, I've used this specific method of self-promotion that you're about to discover to land every single position that I've held since that long unemployed nightmare that I went through all those years ago. From sales positions to management positions to executive vice president roles. And along the way, I've reviewed thousands of resumes and interviewed and hired hundreds of men and women. I know what executives and hiring managers look for in candidates, and I know what it takes to get hired. So if there's just one thing that you take away from here today, it needs to be this. Unless you change your job search strategy from the vanilla buttoned-up approach that so many of the so-called hiring experts preach to a creative and effective outside-the-box approach that makes you stand out and get noticed, you have no chance in today's job market. Just think about this. Recently, in a Washington Examiner report, a Wall Street insider revealed that despite the fluffy numbers reported by the government, the actual true unemployment rate today in the United States is somewhere in the neighborhood of a staggering 37%. So what this means to the job seeker is that now over 1/3 of the population of the United States has become your competition. Close to 120 million people, all out there competing for a dismal amount of job openings. So unless you can do something that differentiates you from the masses, something that makes you stand out and get noticed, unless you zig while everyone else is zagging, your future is going to look very dark. Fortunately, starting today, you will know the secret of how to stand out, get noticed, and practically force company decision makers to want to interview and hire you. The secret that flips the odds in your favor and makes the job search process fun and exciting because it puts you in control, in the driver's seat, if you will. So that companies are competing for you instead of you competing with dozens or hundreds of other job seekers. So how do you do it? It's actually quite simple, yet it's so very powerful. First, you get rid of all the negativity and develop a positive, confident mindset. and visualize yourself already in the position that you really want. Next, you change your thought process from hoping someone will hire you to which of the companies that I choose will do what it takes to get me to come to work for them. You see, the dream job search process that I'm going to reveal to you allows you to target the precise companies that you want to work for. Quality, successful companies that may or may not even have an official job opening. It's an approach that takes you out of the pool of the masses all responding to the same classified ad where your resume likely becomes lost in a sea of thousands with all the others, and positions you where you're likely the only candidate for consideration. Think about just how powerful that is. And even if there are other candidates, the approach that you'll be taking causes employers to view you as a creative, aggressive, outside-the-box thinker, the type of person everyone wants on their team, and immediately shoots you straight to the top of the must-interview and the must-hire list. Next, contrary to what most job listings tell you to do, and what many hiring experts suggest, you're going to bypass the whole human resources channel and make direct contact with the top-level executives in your target companies. The top management, the vice president, and yes, even the CEO. These people are the people that make it happen. The people most concerned with having top talent on their teams. And when and if you ultimately deal with the HR department, it will be by the directive of the executive and, again, putting you in the driver's seat. Finally, and most importantly, my power tip for you. The one thing you have to do, otherwise all your other efforts are pretty much useless. It's what breaks the ice, it builds rapport, and it puts the employer on a more personal level with you right from the start. It's what makes you stand out and get noticed. With every resume-containing email that you send out to your target employer list, you also include the secret file attachment that makes this whole approach work like magic. Your magic cheese. It's very simple, yet so very powerful. So what is it? It's a short multimedia presentation with highlights about predominantly you, the person, more so than even you, the potential employee. Now, I realize that this flies in the face of everything you've probably been told to do or been told not to do, and that's one of the reasons that it works so well. No one else is doing it. I keep it short, simple, and yes, as the name implies, even a little bit cheesy. Including just enough information to convey the message that I want, not too little, not too much, and I even use that term cheesy as an icebreaker in my email messages. It makes for a great lighthearted talking point to get the conversation started. As the name also implies, it works like magic every time. With a proper mindset and this fresh, creative approach, you are instantly far ahead of any potential competition that you may have in your job search. Now, as someone who's used this approach successfully numerous times, and as someone who's hired hundreds of people over the years for small companies and big ones alike, there's one thing I can promise you. You've heard the saying that people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. Well, people also hire people that they feel like they know, like, and trust. The old adage that a picture is worth 1,000 words is also true, because when someone has the opportunity to get a little glimpse into the life of a person visually, in this case through your magic cheese presentation, there's a psychological connection that occurs that's not possible with just words on a paper, as in your resume. It allows the employer to connect with you on a more personal level and get to know a little bit about you and who you are before even speaking with you. That connection is a massive psychological advantage that works in your favor. I can also tell you this, of the thousands of resumes that I've personally reviewed over the years, only a handful have ever taken the initiative to go the extra mile and do something unique and creative like this. And you know what else? Every single one that did got hired. And as you'll discover when you create your presentation and you start sending it out, your magic cheese will be the number one reason cited for why they decided to respond to you. Mark my words. So here's the deal. I've taken this core approach strategy that I've just shared with you, along with over 20 years of hiring experience, plus my own job search experiences, and from it all, I've created a complete job landing blueprint that I want to give you access to in a few minutes from right now, that expounds upon these tips and gives you my exact templates to follow, with detailed tips on exactly how to successfully implement every step of this job search approach strategy so that there's no guesswork. A blueprint that you can start using today to land that dream job that you've been looking for with the company of your choice, and do it in as little as 14 days. Which brings us to this point where there are two choices on where you go from here. Take what I've just shared with you and continue giving it a go on your own. If that's the route you choose, I wish you nothing but the greatest of success. Or there's choice number 2, which I believe you'll agree is the smarter choice. Smarter because it's the choice that can fast track your success without any guesswork. Smarter because you're likely not willing to chance a continued path toward the current national average of 11 months of unemployment. That's 11 months without any income. And with so much on the line, why take any risk of additional failure and frustration trying to figure anything out by yourself, when I've already done all the hard work for you to figure it all out? I've literally cracked the code and created the ideal solution that anyone can succeed with. I think you'll agree that the smarter choice is for you to download your own copy of this blueprint today. A blueprint that is now helping people just like you land their dream jobs in record time, that I call the ultimate dream job landing blueprint. It's a step-by-step plan of action for landing your dream job with a company of your choosing in as little as 14 days, without any of the stress typically associated with a job search. This radically simple yet effective job landing blueprint will work for you regardless of age, gender, experience, education, or occupation, whether you're currently employed or if you're employed and looking to just upgrade your career, or even if you think you've already tried absolutely everything. Bottom line, it works for anybody and everybody. Now, just to be clear, however, before I tell you everything you'll be getting with your copy of the blueprint, let me tell you what it's not, so you'll know exactly what you're about to experience. It's not a magic pill, right? It's not some magic push a button and wake up in the morning with $1 million a year job gimmick. It does take a little bit of effort on your part, effort that's actually quite fast, easy, very enjoyable. A little work that's well worth the time and that produces big and fast results. So if this little bit of effort described is not something you feel like you're up to, then this is probably not for you. Let's go ahead and click off the page right now, because this strategy is not designed for lazy people. It's designed for action takers and people ready to finally make it happen. People who've made the commitment to change their lives for the better. Listen, you've been going down the wrong path long enough, and although it's not your fault, as millions of others have also followed the same path. After today, you'll know that it's now your responsibility, however, to take action. It's time to start doing what works. So if you really want to put an end to the stress, regain your self-confidence and self-worth, put an end to the depletion of your bank accounts, get caught up in all your monthly bills, rectify your home life, secure a new career that you actually love with a company that you choose to work for, to be appreciated and paid what you're worth, and are ready to finally begin enjoying life with all the money to see and do all the things that you and your family want to see and do, then guess what? The ultimate dream job landing blueprint isn't just a solution for you. It's the only solution for you. Just check out this letter I recently received from Lewis R. in Atlanta, Georgia, which sums up the experience of most blueprint owners. Rob, when I purchased your blueprint, at first I was quite skeptical. Sure, I'd heard all the stories online of people who swore by it, yet I had the suspicion that they must have had some special type of background or work experience that added to their success, and that my results probably wouldn't even compare. Well, your blueprint has shown me that nothing could be further from the truth. I did exactly what you instructed using your email templates, the subject lines you suggested, and followed your instructions on creating my Magic Cheese presentation. Found a couple of companies to target and sent off my first 2 magic messages. Almost fell out of my chair when later that same afternoon I received a response from the CEO of one of those companies requesting an interview for the following week. The interview went great. 2 days later, I got the offer. I'm blown away at how something so devilishly simple can be so deadly effective. I'm now a believer. Thank you so much. Now, a quick word of caution. Lewis's results were extraordinary, yet not typical. I don't want to set the false expectation that you think you only need to send out 2 messages and then bam, your dream job falls in your lap. While it is entirely possible, as Lewis has just proven, I would suggest creating an initial target list of at least 20 companies to get started with. Besides, you always want the opportunity to choose between multiple offers rather than just one. Okay, so let's now take a look at exactly what you'll receive when you download your copy of the blueprint. First, inside the core blueprint training manual, you'll discover the 5 biggest mistakes that you're currently making in your job search on page 7. On page 11, you'll find all the tools that you need to get started today and have CEOs contacting you within days. Pages 11 through 15, you'll learn how to laser target companies that will hire you, yet are not running ads. And you'll also see links to the top online resources to find those companies. On page 16, you'll see the sneaky trick for discovering the CEOs, the presidents, the executive staff's email addresses without ever having to make a phone call. The exact messages that I sent out that get a 50+% response rate every time I send them on page 18, which includes the exact words to use in your email subject line and the 3 things that you must include in your email body copy. You'll actually get the exact email that I personally use. How to create your Magic Cheese multimedia presentation by following the case study of my personal presentation covered point by point on pages 22 through 34. The 2 critical hiring issues that, if not properly addressed, can halt your job interview process in its tracks, or even worse, can potentially get you fired before you ever get comfortable at your desk on page 35. This is critical. Page 42, what you must know about 2 popular social networking sites that can absolutely derail your job search and can get you eliminated from hiring consideration, or again, even get you fired. The psychology behind getting respect from the HR department and the hiring managers on page 44. Page 43, you'll find out how you need to structure your resume, what to include in it that you've been told to never include that makes all the difference. Plus a whole lot more, including around a dozen real email responses that I've received from executives responding to my messages. With 1 phone interview request that came in just 3 minutes after I sent my initial email. These can be found on pages 49 through 53. Everything you need to get started fast and get results fast. Now, you may believe that something that can deliver these kind of results this fast would cost a pretty penny, and actually, in all honesty, it really should. After all, this blueprint, the very same one that you'll have the opportunity to download in just a few moments, has helped countless folks just like you put the stresses of a very difficult situation behind them. I mean, just think, how much money in the bank would it mean for you to cut potentially 10.5 months off of your job search? That's based on the national average. It's currently 11 months of unemployment. Now, with those type of numbers considered, even if the investment were, let's say, in the thousands, I think most would find that to be an absolute steal. Yet you don't have to worry, because obviously you won't have to pay anything even close to that today. And as a matter of fact, I'd like to surprise you with a very special deal in just a moment, just for watching this presentation today. It's a very special deal available through this page, so whatever you do, keep watching. First though, I want to tell you about a bonus item that I'm also going to include when you download your copy of the blueprint today. I'm also going to include my actual Magic Cheese multimedia presentation file, so you can download it, you can use it as a template, edit, modify it how you like to make it your own. That's got a $97 value. Additionally, I understand that you may not currently own the software that you need to create your presentation, and that you probably aren't interested in going out and shelling out a couple $100 to go buy it. Not to worry. Inside your blueprint, you'll find a link to an awesome software tool suite that includes everything you'll need and a whole lot more. All 100% free, so you don't need to worry about spending another dime for any additional tools after downloading your blueprint. Okay, as I mentioned, the actual retail value of a product like this that can deliver these kind of results is very difficult to attach a real number to. Yet I realized I had to arrive at some price. And even though all of my friends and business colleagues who have seen this have suggested that it not be sold for anything less than $497, and frankly, I agree with them. But here's the deal. I feel for everyone who has unexpectedly found themselves unemployed and are currently struggling to provide for their families. I've been there, and I know all too well exactly what that feels like. And since it's hard enough to even scrape together the funds to pay the light bill when you're in this type of situation, there's no way I could add more stress to your bank account by asking you to invest that much, or even half of that much at $247. Not even $147. I decided to make it very affordable for everybody, with a deal that I believe most will consider to be a no-brainer. And when you decide to take advantage of that deal, I'm going to award you with 2 more bonuses for taking action today through this page. First, even though the use of this blueprint alone will automatically propel you to the top of the hire list, I want to make sure that you absolutely crush your job interviews. So I'm also going to include a bonus training manual called How to Ace Any Job Interview. And inside there, you'll learn things like what to expect from, how to get the most out of every job interview, questions that you absolutely must ask the interviewer in every single job interview, how to engage your interviewer into a flowing two-way conversation rather than having just some awkward Q&A style session, the do's and don'ts for the second interview and the subsequent interviews, the importance of the thank you letter and exactly what to say, how to exude confidence throughout the entire interview process, and how to have the utmost poise in your interviews so that you will be the hands-down choice, along with many other tips to prep you for your slam dunk interview. It's the perfect companion to the blueprint, and it's valued at $47, yet it's yours free when you download your blueprint today. Finally, I want to award you for getting started today by including a very valuable yet very limited fast action super bonus to help ensure your success. Today, when you take immediate action, I'm also going to include private personal access to me, so that you can email me your Magic Cheese multimedia presentation for me to personally review and critique for you and provide you with valuable feedback. Now, this is a very limited offer, as you might imagine. I can only personally handle so many of these reviews, and once I do reach my limit, I'm going to pull this bonus offer. Yet when I do pull it, I'll take it out of this presentation, so if you're still seeing it here now, don't worry, it is still available. Now, this bonus alone is valued at $197, as I currently charge between $200 and $400 an hour for private consultation services, so this is something you don't want to miss out on. Now, with this, you'll no longer ever have to feel like you're on your own to figure things out. Listen, with every day that passes, your job search is costing you money. I think you know that, a lot of money. So now, it's your decision to make. And you really only have to ask yourself 2 questions. At this point, can I really afford to leave anything to chance? And can I really afford to risk any more time without income for myself and for my family? Every day that goes by means hundreds more in lost income. So with all that considered, and when considering the fact that through Access today, I'll be here to walk you through the entire process, hand in hand, it becomes crystal clear what an absolutely incredible deal that even the $497 retail price would be. Yet today, everything we've discussed is yours for a fraction of that. Simply click the big yellow button that you should see right now just below this video that says, "Yes, Rob, give me the blueprint." And I'll give you full access to the core blueprint training at $497 value, the Magic Cheese multimedia file template, along with a link to the free software tools that we talked about, has a value of $97, and How to Ace Any Job Interview training manual. That has a value of $47. And most importantly, when you take action today, you'll also get the fast action super bonus, which is the Magic Cheese presentation review and critique by me personally, valued at $197. All for the special price of just $77. And I'm willing to fully guarantee your success with absolutely zero risk. And not 1, not 2, but 3 ways. Okay? First, put the blueprint to the test for the next 60 days. If you don't land multiple job interviews, just let me know. I'll refund every penny of your investment without question. Second, if you don't land the job that you want with the company that you want within the next 60 days, again, just let me know. Send me a message. I'll instantly give you back every penny that you invest here today. Third, even if you just don't like my accent, right? The look of this website, or even the font that I use in the training manual, just tell me. I'll happily give you back every penny that you invested here today without question. And you can even keep everything as my way of saying thank you for putting your trust in me. Fair enough? I hope so. Listen, here's the bottom line. All that matters is that you're thrilled, that you succeed, and that you get the results that you want and that you need. Nothing else matters. So if you're not bouncing off the walls thrilled for any reason at all, I don't want your money. So click the button right now and get started today on landing that first interview this week. Then once you do, download your blueprint. Immediately flip over to page 11. There you'll find my favorite place to begin looking for the best companies to target. Using that resource, along with the others from the Companies to Target resource list on page 12, go ahead and identify at least 20 potential target companies that fit your criteria. Once you have your hot list, write down the executive's name and use the trick that I show you on page 16 to determine his or her email address. Now, all that's left is for you to tidy up your resume as instructed on pages 45 and 46, and then create your ace in the hole, your Magic Cheese multimedia presentation. Just follow along with the case study that I lay out on pages 23 through 34, and you'll be rocking and rolling. And remember, with the Fast Action bonus, I'm here to look it all over for you and give you valuable feedback if you feel that you need it. Listen, don't put this off a second longer. Don't risk going any more days without income than you absolutely have to. Stop the bleeding, bring back peace of mind, and get your life back on track. Winners act when they know a good thing, and this is a good thing for you and for your family, so don't risk your future by hoping some other answer will come your way. This very moment in time is your crossroads. Take road A, do nothing at all. Of course, we already know where that will lead, to more suffocating from the stresses of unemployment. Take road B, take the tips I've shared with you and continue to give it a go on your own. Yet you'll be leaving with only a partial picture, which can lead to more days, weeks, or months mired in frustration with no money coming in for you and for your family. Or you can do the smart thing. Take road C and allow me to share with you a simple, surefire blueprint that just plain works. And get started on the path to an income-rich, happiness-rich career and life. Click the button below that says, "Yes, Rob, give me the blueprint," and I'll see you on the inside. Thanks for watching.